That's Yalika Bernard. Woo! Woo! The only thing about it is I can't go too far off in the spirit, because I have to get up here. That's what you have me do. So, good morning, everyone. It's so wonderful to see you. It really is wonderful to see you. I love the fact that you keep showing up. Because it would be another story if you didn't. So my title this morning is, Do You Have a Consciousness of Wealth? And I'm talking about spiritual wealth. So this is my first week as senior minister and pastor. And now you understand why I'm senior minister and pastor. Because from our culture, if I didn't say pastor, somebody would say, well, who's the senior? What does that senior minister thing mean? So even my title is to encompass the fact that we're a multicultural community. So this is my first week, this is my 7th day, and you know how it is. You're just in orientation. But like most of my orientations, I got to learn on my own. Now, I had all the opportunity. I've had 10 years to ask Reverend Dr. Georgia anything I wanted to ask, right? But of course, I think I know everything anyway, right? So I'm here. But what I did not get and what I did not understand, what is the major priority here? If I consider the number of calls and the number of emails and the number of discussions, guess what's the most important thing? The flowers. It's the flowers. It's the flowers. I'm telling you, it's the flowers. So this is what I knew going into this week. Robert is not here. Now, of course, I think there's only one Robert in the universe, and which means I'm wrong. So Friday morning, I arrive, and it's about 10:30, 11 o'clock, and Reverend Peggy says, "Where's the flowers?" And so I automatically assumed I forgot to pick up the flowers, right? So I went, okay, where are the flowers? Okay, Trader Joe's, Trader Joe's in Folsom or Trader Joe's on Folsom? Well, I know the managers of both now because I called them both. So I am humbled today to be where I am. So it's 10:30 in the morning and I call and I'm begging and I'm apologizing and this kind of stuff. They said, look, baby, all the flowers are gone. Okay. So I said, okay, fine. So you know what I did? I jumped in the car and I drove to Nugget and I bought flowers. A lot of flowers. Okay? So as soon as I get back here and walk in the door, a gentleman walks up to me and says, hello, I'm Robert. And I'm sorry that I'm late. I've never been late before, but I'm late this morning and I have the flowers. We have so many flowers this morning. But the question is, when things happen in life, how do you handle them? Do you choose to be thankful or do you just resent the experience? Are you living the abundant life? Are you living a life where you feel totally supported, that the universe and all that is going on actually supports you? Are you living in abundant finance, having rewarding relationships, and the opportunity to share your gifts, which gives you worthwhile work as your experience? Do you feel whole? Living in salvation means living in wholeness. So in summary, because God is, we are. But am I experiencing it? As this divine expression of God in which I believe and I trust, I must acknowledge that we are the abundance of God. We have the power to change any limiting belief. Remember, we give the limiting belief the power. And if we remove it and place it with another thought, the power goes in that direction. We have 5 gifts for this experience, for this journey: gratitude, intention, forgiveness, tithing, and surrender. These are the things that change our experience. So I'm using the book, 5 Gifts of Abundant Life, written by Diane Harmony, another CSL minister, which uses the gifts, the word gifts as an acronym for the 5 points of gratitude, intention, forgiveness, tithing, and surrender. So take out your hand and just consider this: gratitude, intention, forgiveness, tithing, and surrender. So our spiritual truth says this: beloved, I wish above all else that you prosper and be in good health as your soul prospers. Wholeness, health, prosperity, and abundance transcends the ideas of material wealth. Material wealth is a result of the spiritual wealth that we all possess. Now, I acknowledge, if you are living without a home, if you have been hungry for weeks and days, and you live with the trauma of not feeling secure, what I have to say to you this morning will not help you. I have to feed you first, put you in a home first, and make you feel secure before I can tell you that if anybody made it, you can make it too. I do admit, though, there are pleasures in life that come from outside of us. People, places, possessions, all give us some pleasure. If they didn't give us any pleasure, why would we want them? We get some pleasure out of it, or we wouldn't want them. So these 5 gifts mean that they are gifts. They are freely given. They are freely given to us. They are in you, but we must activate them by use and by practice. It is these 5 gifts that shift our consciousness from lack to abundance. It's the gifts are this inner resource that is always available to us as spiritual knowledge. The shift in consciousness, though, is a journey. It's just not from being transported, if you happen to be a Trekkie. It's not being transported. It's a journey. I am, obviously. I can do it with both hands at the same time. It's a journey. And as you go on this journey, we practice these 5 spiritual practices, these 5 gifts. They are the vehicle by which we take the journey. Now, as a spiritual being, we know we must use spiritual practices, right? Now, I played the organ growing up, and sometimes I think I was an organ grinder, but I played the organ growing up. And my parents always said, if you don't practice, you're not going to be able to play. But I don't like to practice. I don't really like to practice at all. I don't know about you. The only thing I like to practice are the things I really, really like. So, and playing the organ wasn't one of them. But spiritual practice, we have to spiritually practice to transform our life. Now, I'll address all 5 of the gifts over the next couple of months, but this morning I am only talking about gratitude. From grief to gratitude, from guilt to gratitude. Have you ever lost something? Have you ever lost someone? Have you ever lost a dream? Have you lost hope? How do you handle grief is determined by whether or not you see it as misery or as a victory. Grief is this deep anguish. It gives you this sick taste in your mouth. It is an ache and it's a pain. And if you need a whole session, Practitioner Larry is doing a workshop next month on grief and loss. But I want to talk about grief and loss that is associated with regret. And regret is associated with the things that I did that I found out were wrong. I may have hurt someone. I may have done something wrong. And what do I do with the guilt and the regret when I have done something wrong? The first point is to remember it's not that I am wrong. You're not wrong. You did something wrong. You can separate the action from who you are as a spiritual being. You're whole, perfect, and complete. But you had a thought, and you chose to do something wrong. Many times out of lack of knowledge. But guilt is self-abuse. It is self-harm. It is self-punishment. It has no value. It brings no value to it all. But it's very much like pain. Pain is an indicator that something is wrong. And guilt is an indicator that you feel bad about something that needs healing. But it is self-inflicted pain. But because it's self-inflicted, you have the power to change it. And it is on this journey that we start toward our soul prospering, where we embrace, first of all, gratitude. Our spiritual wealth comes from only one source, and that one source is spirit. It is God. If you believe anything or anyone else is your source of happiness and being sustained, I guarantee you it will let you down. There is no way. I will let people down if they think I am. There is no way. But it is the Spirit that never lets us down. It is the eternal source of all that is good and beneficial. And it is in, through, and around each one of us all the time. So to overcome guilt and fear, we overcome it with gratitude. We first must recognize that we have a limiting belief, and that limiting belief needs to be replaced. Now, just casting off something that doesn't work for you generally is not a very, very good practice. What you should do is you replace it with something that does work for you. Don't just leave it open. You can cast out the thought, but you need to replace it with one that works for you. And that is through gratitude. Replace your guilt and your grief with gratitude. Gratitude is being thankful, intentionally thankful. When we turn our minds from the problem, from the grief and the pain, toward gratitude, we are entering the process of seeking out happiness. Now, haven't you known someone who's just negative? That every time you see them, it's going to be a negative conversation. They're always complaining about something. You know, this is Debbie Downer on Saturday Night Live. No matter what is said, and I remember I used to try to encourage people, and I'd say, but what about? They've just chosen to be negative. Let it be an illustration to us that we shouldn't be that way. There's a laundry list of things that we can identify that are wrong. But let me tell you, there are far more things that are good and to be thankful for. No matter what you say, some people you cannot encourage. And don't be one of those people. Have you ever given someone something and you didn't feel appreciated? There is nothing like it. It makes you angry. You regret the fact that you get, and then you feel guilty because you feel bad about it, right? You feel betrayed. You feel dismissed. It's just not a life-affirming experience. And if you cannot think of something to be thankful for, my parents taught me something when I was a teenager, whining about getting up in the morning or something that I always whined about. And that was just start at the top of your body and learn to be thankful. So when I was a kid, I was thankful for a full head of curly hair, which was very in vogue at the time. It was the first Afro period. Now I have to be thankful that I look good with a bald head. You know, I have ears to hear. Now, people would say, well, what if I have to have a hearing aid? Then be thankful for the hearing aid because you can hear. Being thankful. It doesn't take much. I can be thankful because I can speak. I can be thankful because I can think for myself. That my heart can reach out in love and presence. That I can move around as I choose to. That my legs follow the direction of my mind. You don't have to look far for something to be thankful for. Be thankful. Remember, what we do comes back. It is the universal law of circulation. What we think and what we do comes back to us. So as we practice gratitude, we will receive the abundance of gratitude. Life is a gift. So a few tips for being and practicing gratitude. First, start with your body. Second, do something for someone else that will not benefit you at all, that they are not in a position to either repay or to return the action to you. In other words, really give something away. Third, it's really not time to list all of the bad things that have happened and all the things and all the needs and wants that you've ever wanted in life. This is a time not to look at blame, but just to look at gratitude, to turn from all of that. Not saying that all of that isn't true. It is true. It is a condition. Therefore, it's subject to change. But just knowing it is gratitude that is the principle. Now, some people encourage you to have a gratitude journal. Now, those of you who like to write and that kind of thing, I think it works for you. If I start writing on a piece of paper, I start writing on this piece of paper, and then I write on that piece of paper, and then I write on that piece of paper, and I spend half the day trying to figure out what piece of paper I wrote on. But what I have found that works is just to put it in my phone. Because God knows I can search on the Apple phone. Okay? The thing is to be mindful, to recognize and acknowledge what you are thankful for. But most importantly, after you realize what you're thankful for, the 5 reasons why you are thankful. If you are thankful for a person, place, animal, or thing, what are the 5 reasons? Because I guarantee you, your appreciation and your gratitude will grow. 5th, whenever you think of complaining, just start remembering what to be thankful about. Every time you have one of those thoughts, replace it with another. This is how we shift our consciousness from worrying about all the things that we don't have to recognize the benefits of the things that we do have. And I don't believe until you get gratitude down, can you get a healthy intention, get to forgiveness, to tithing, or to surrender. I think the gratitude is the entrance way into the abundant life. So it's time to take this journey toward abundance. It is as our soul prospers that we become abundant. And we start this by practicing gratitude. Now, you don't have to tell everybody else, but it's nothing wrong if you want to tell people. But make sure you tell somebody that is going to reinforce your joy, not someone who is going to dismiss your joy. So as you start to reflect, you realize that there is so much to be thankful for and the abundance of it all. So I have to reflect on Friday, right? I ran to get flowers. It was a long week of making one mistake after another that I had to truly make up for, and Rosie had to correct me 9 million times. But I promised I wouldn't call or text her yesterday, even though I did have a crisis and I considered it. But I didn't do it. I just didn't do it. I said, I'm just going to tough it out. But the question is, it happened, and I ran to get flowers. I spent money to do it. I took my time and everything else. Are you going to resent it, or are you going to look at it as the abundance of flowers? It's all in how you look at it. So our spiritual truth says, beloved, I wish above all else that you prosper, be in good health as your soul prospers. Choose to be thankful and to be grateful. And if it's for another person, that you let them know. It will come back to you, because the universal law of circulation will bring it back, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. And so it is. There's a whole lot of things I did this week that I had to learn and turn from to be thankful. Let us pray, just giving thanks and praise for all the blessings of this life. Just the ability to enjoy life, to laugh at ourselves, to be thankful, to make a mistake and forgive ourselves and pick ourselves up and just go on. To forgive people who have offended us. And most importantly, to forgive ourselves. It is for this and so much more that we are thankful. We are grateful. And so it is. It's time for our offering. Money is God in action. I send it forth to bless and to prosper all who come in contact with it. And so it is. And let's welcome back Elika.